Hi everyone, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is Sky here to speak about a rare event that we will be having on November 11th. This does not happen often. It is a visible Mercury solar eclipse of the sun. I'll put all the details in the description box below of exactly what time and what location this would be visible from. Of course, this would never be visible like a traditional solar eclipse where the moon eclipses the sun, because at certain places in the world that completely eclipses the sun, whereas the only way you could see this one would be through eclipse glasses. And you would see a small Mercury casting a small shadow over the sun if you looked. But don't go looking at the sun with your naked eyes. Don't go trying to see it unless you have the proper equipment, of course. But yeah, this is technically a visible Mercurial solar eclipse where Mercury is eclipsing the sun retrograde in Scorpio. So it's an exact Sun-Mercury conjunction where Mercury is at a point in the ecliptic where it can actually visibly be seen from Earth eclipsing the sun. Yes, it is likely that your entire world could spin out of control into a disastrous and chaotic crash and burn. I'm only kidding. Not really, because this Mercury retrograde is not affecting us technologically in the way that many Mercury retrogrades do. Of course, we may experience, more traffic, more, slowness within technology. All of those things happen in Mercury retrograde. But Mercury retrograde in Scorpio is so much more about the body and so much more about, emotional communication, emotional understanding, communicating with yourself, communicating with your own body, how what you ingest communicates with your body. All of this type of thing is more the lens of Mercury retrograde, as well as how you communicate with trauma and how you communicate with the past and how it emotionally motivates you. So what does this Mercurial solar eclipse mean then when that energy of Mercury retrograde in Scorpio conjuncts the sun and shadows the sun's energy? So the sun is all about, life force. It's what keeps us alive. It is what we motivate through. It is, our desire to live and our survival instinct. So that energy that I just explained of Mercury retrograde in Scorpio eclipsing the sun says to me that our own needs for closure, or our own needs to be emotionally dominant, or to understand the context emotionally of a situation, can cover up our life force, or can cover up what we truly need. So this is a super important time to disconnect from the negative emotions of the past. Okay, first and foremost, you cannot be weighed down anymore after this eclipse by something that happened years and years ago. This is a time where we have to let go, where we have to release. And another interesting thing is that, the nature of an eclipse, as I've talked about before, is that it comes in, it takes something away, and it gives something back, and it goes on. Okay, so something comes in, something goes out. This is the spiritual context of an eclipse. And with the nature of the sun and Mercury that we've sort of been discussing here, what a potent opportunity for closure. Okay, this is one of the rare opportunities in life where true closure is possible. Okay, again, I'm not a huge believer in the concept of closure, because 95% of the time, closure is a means to reopen something, or to give like an insurance that things are not actually ended. But what a great time to give yourself closure, to understand where your life force went. Because what this transit can offer is a solid answer, okay? A solution to an equation. There's a formulaic mathematical emotionality about this connection of energies. So there can be a simplified version of something you've gone through. Like, okay, this person broke up with me all these years ago. This person abandoned me all these years ago. Then, over the last few years after that abandonment, I have only wanted them. I have only wanted them to come back and save me. And through that incessant want, I have sacrificed all of my life force towards something that would have never held me in the first place. And in a way, I have deprecated the value of my life. This is why I am ill. This is why I am sick. This is why I cannot accomplish anything, because I have shown the universe that the value of my life force is very low. And there can be a realization during a transit like this where you revalue your life force. And through that revaluation of your life force, the universe will look to you with respect and start to reward a high value of your life force and start to give you situations that are not so low anymore by no longer wishing to be accepted by those who have abandoned you. This is the type of deep, transformative zest that can be accomplished with this energy. So kind of like in my previous video where I was talking about the last lessons of Jupiter and Sagittarius, I'll link that below and in the top right hand corner if you'd like to visit that after this video. This transit may not play out so much on the outside world. This is a lot to do with how our mind clicks and then how that manifests outwardly. So it will most likely start within, especially if this is transiting, a water or an earth house in your chart. I think that it's so important to not get trapped or bogged down by previous coping mechanisms. So what you've previously done to feel better or to feel at ease by some very difficult situation. Okay, there's just all these blackbirds flying over my house right now. Sorry, guys, I don't mean to. Oh my gosh. Do you hear that? I wonder if that will come through the microphone. Anyway, so the blackbirds are singing to us. Crows and blackbirds have been surrounding my house ever since Mercury went into Scorpio. So you might be surrounded by blackbirds during this time. You might be surrounded by crows or surrounded by messengers of the death energy. So that is a sign that the universe is manifesting things to come in and trim off the dead parts of your energy, to come in and aid in the process of coming through. I'm sorry, they're just so loud. It must be a signal of the end times. I'm only kidding. Anyway, thank you to the blackbirds for coming in and giving their channeling and their understanding of this transit. Whatever they've tried to say, I will not try to interpret for them. Anyway, as I was saying, it's really good to remeasure your coping mechanisms, how you cope, because you might see that some of the ways that you cope do block your life force, as really the root of this transit deals with cognizance of what blocks your inner solar life force. Again, Mercury is about communication, it's about conscious realization, it's about understanding. And as it is covering the sun, it's an understanding of what is covering our progress, what is covering our movement forward. So we might really benefit from making time around November the 11th. But honestly, a transit like this, as I say, for the really potent solar eclipses, they go out a month on either side. So you really around October 11th to December 11th, this energy is in place. So you could see that just that entire window of 2 months is very eye-opening regarding what you've done to hold yourself back, regarding how you've spent your emotional energy, and seeing how what was left and what remained, how that was used and how that was utilized, and how that has made you where you are now. So such a great time to find self-empowerment through seeing your autonomy and seeing your own choices. Not a super supported time to blame others for where we're at, or to change the past, or because there can be also a pathological lying tendency from some people with this transit, where people can really believe things to have been a way that they were not, or people can use or exaggerate the pain or trauma of a scenario to validate or make more sturdy their current lack of progress or their current lot in life. For example, if someone is maybe in a lot of debt or really struggling to, feel secure in their life, they might really play up a bad relationship from the past, or they might really think, oh, it's because of that person that I don't, have anything in my life right now. It's not my fault in any way. It's because of what they did. Therefore, it helps one to escape their own power and their own life force. And then that kind of can really solidify a long chapter of never really having much life force or power or ability to overcome things, because, again, you really sacrifice your life force over when you allow somebody from your past to continue impacting you. You give that to them, you give that away, and it does result in debt. It results in even a suicidal ideation, okay? So I might have to put a trigger warning in this video, but I will say that it's important to seek any type of psychological counseling or help that you can during this time. It's very important to pursue your emotional and mental health, as you might see that people around you might tell you that they're suicidal, or people might try to confide in others during this time about suicidal ideation. Even people may threaten suicide as well, to emotionally abuse others. This is a dark, dark part of this transit, but I will just warn you guys. Again, sometimes I don't like speaking about that because I do not want to trigger anybody. But again, that is just a disclaimer. You need to be careful of what you consume and what you watch on YouTube. But yeah, this is a time where if you're trying to make things work, or trying to make a relationship work, or trying to be friends with somebody who's very unstable, you can see that your like really positive actions or your attempts to be helpful kind of backfire, because these helpful attempts can also be enabling for people who are maybe really ill or really need some kind of professional help. So do try to dip out of games with people who are not well. That's a very supported thing for this time. Leaving unwell, toxic, emotionally ill people to, maybe even trying to suggest help. Is there something we can do? But it's one of the difficulties of this time, I will say, is trying to understand what your responsibility is for someone in your life who is not well, and how you can help them without discouraging them. That is hard right now for some people. And from what I understand of the energies, again, I can't really suggest what to do on this type of matter, but it's important to mainly not deny your own self-growth for the consumption of others. What do I mean by that? People can be very prone to devouring emotionally right now. So people can be very much emotional vampires. People can really eat up something negative around them. So yeah, you just have to know who is prone to this and maybe avoid them at this time. That's really as much as I can suggest. Moving forward with this transit, you should, over the few days that this is active, especially on November 11th, there should be a clearness, a clarity about where you need to go, what you need to do, what the rest of your year looks like. What I like about this Scorpio injection of energy is just the acceptance that can be there. Even if things aren't necessarily pretty, there's a really clear picture painted about how to make things beautiful once more, about what has led us into a gray-toned, nasty experience as well, toxic experience. It can be so clear and so poignant. Again, when the Sun and Mercury conjunct, despite Mercury being retrograde, this is a great, great transit on the mundane collective level, because it aligns your thinking mind with your vitality and with your soul's wants and your soul's desires. So we can understand how to move forward in our career. We can understand how to make more money, how to be more prepared, how to be more happy, how to be more emotionally placed. We can understand it, okay? It's not just eluding us. It's not just, oh my God, I don't know how to make more money. I don't know how to relate to this person. I don't know where I'm going to move. I don't know where I'm going to live. I don't know. This whole, I don't know thing, this whole I don't know BS of 2019, a little bit of tough love, because I'm getting tired of this from people and from myself to a degree. I'm getting tired of this whole I don't know thing. This can really click into place here. And that is sometimes why such a potent, hardcore, slamming type of transit can come in very immediately to really get things in line. And if we have refused to know the answer to something, if we have refused to quit something that was bad for us, if we have refused to accept the simple truth of a situation, sometimes a transit like this comes in and slaps things into motion and is a wake-up call. A cold bucket of frigidly ice-cold water thrown in the sleeping face can be this transit, okay? Or we can embrace our own power, okay? Use our own power appropriately to make easy changes when it's right. To make simple changes, simple shifts, simple transitions when the time is right, with our own power, with our own ability. or it can be a glacial type of experience that does come for us over the next few years. This is not to create fear, as yes, this Mercury retrograde eclipse of the sun can also lend itself toward fear being the way that your body operates and what makes us operate. So we don't want that. We don't want to fear monger, that's for sure. But we have to be a little bit severe with ourselves. I'm going to say that we have to be a little bit severe with the refusals towards our own health. Okay, the refusals towards our own facing of fears and stuff like that can sometimes feel comfortable and soft in the moment and self-loving. Sometimes to not face a fear or to not make a necessary transition can feel self-loving, and this is why the whole collective self-love wave is great, but also destructive for some people, because there are many people who would tell you to sit still and to sit comfortably right now is the optimum thing, because that's self-loving, because it's not harsh at all. Where sometimes there are transits like this that are a little bit harsh, and it is not self-loving to cover your ears and go la 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 laying in bed. Okay, not the right thing right now. However, I will say that there's a middle ground also with this transit. Surprisingly, not many people might think so. But if you have been working, if you have been trying, if you have known in your mind for many months now what you've needed to do, the changes you've needed to make to your health, you've accepted that certain places are or are not right, and you're trying, that will help you out. It's the people that struggle with a transit like this are the people who have tried to repress the truth or tried to repress the fact, and not operated with their health in mind, but have operated with like their immediate gratification in mind. That's really what I'm talking about there. But again, the optimum is to have followed through with your own power and made the necessary changes in your life. But it is still going to be rewarded if you have really been thinking about it and you've been trying to understand it and formulate it as well. Because this is what Mercury is about. It's Mercury conjoining the sun. So it's maybe that time where those thoughts and, processes become real and start to become manifest. Okay. So that's a great way to channel this energy, is to begin the manifesting of these thoughts that you've had for a long time. So yeah, beginning to detox your body, beginning to sleep in a more appropriate rhythm for you, beginning to, save for a move, or hopefully we've been saving for a while, because saving is important as we move into a recession next year, or the energy of recession at least. It's kind of good to maybe be like a squirrel hiding away nuts right now to a degree. But yeah, I'm hoping that this channeling didn't come off too sharp or pointed, because that's not what it is at all. I just really wanted to iterate the severity and strength of something like this, because this is a rare type of astrological activity. It is during Scorpio time. It is in Scorpio. It is with retrograde Scorpio energy. And, we're moving into winter here in the Northern Hemisphere at least. And it's not playing, okay? This isn't a transit to play with. This isn't a transit to brush off. Acceptance is important. Journaling. If you could journal about the nature of your own power, if you could journal about how you've wielded your power over the last few years, since around 2015 when Saturn was in Scorpio, 2014 and 2013 as well, that would have been in effect. If you could maybe think about the way that you used power, the way that you kept your body healthy, the way that you used your life force, and how that maybe ricocheted up until now, or how you moved through that over the last few years, and the positive or negative or both changes that have existed within your life force. This could be very rewarding to help understand how you need to move forward now, to help understand what is the best choice now, okay? Also, it will be a very empowering time to understand how you want to spend time, money, energy in the future. Not so good to make huge decisions or huge, sudden, impulsive changes until after Mercury goes direct. But it will be bringing the energy of the sun with it as it goes direct in Scorpio. So November 20th and onward, until it moves into Sagittarius, which I will put in the description box below. I believe that it is December 12th. That November 20th to December 12th period of time will be a great time for using your power or using your decision-making process, following through on plans you've had for a long time, upping your productivity, upping your ability in general. So Anyway, everyone, I hope that this video has helped you to understand this transit and in a better way. I so appreciate your likes, comments, and subscribes. This transit's really going to change the game for a lot of us and really going to help us understand, where we're at and help us know how we want to move forward. So in that way, it is so positive. If you guys haven't gotten the opportunity yet to check out my new ebook, Moon Symbols, it is available on Amazon if you wanted to look at your moon sign and help understand how to heal your lunar energy. Thank you so much to those of you who've been able to order that. I so appreciate it. And if you wanted to get a private reading with me to help through this time or get one ready, I think that I'm pretty booked up for the rest of the month. But that will be below if you wanted to get one set up. And, all the information is below. I have my Patreon page, my social media, email, private readings, all of that stuff will be laid out. So thank you guys so much for being here. And be sure to hit that subscribe button so you can see when videos like this are popping up. I will be talking to you guys soon. Much love. Good luck with this incredible transit. Bye.